Right, with the easing of restrictions, many wondering what that means when it comes to work and a possible return to the office. Joining us now to discuss is employment lawyer Lior Samfiru. Lior, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, first off, what steps are companies taking right now when it comes to a possible return to the office?
Well, Jeff, some employers have done a great job, some not so great. It's really been all over the map, but some steps that are being taken and certainly should be taken is number one, ensuring that you have safety protocols in place. How are you going to deal with these employees coming back? Are you going to require that people be vaccinated? Are you going to ensure that there's testing done? Is there a mechanism for contact tracing and advising people if there's an outbreak in the workplace? So you have to take care of that first. The other things that employers are doing, certainly good employers, are ensuring that the return is gradual. So let's see how we can handle this before we actually increase it and have everyone back. And finally, employers often also are giving extra time to those employees that have childcare obligations to allow them to make other arrangements before they're being brought back into the office.
And what is your advice to those employees who may be feeling a bit nervous about being recalled back to the office? What are their rights if they require more time?
Well, certainly the first thing that you want to do as an employee is ensure that your employer is taking all required safety measures. That's number one. So ask the questions. What are you doing to ensure safety? Masking, vaccinations, etc. That is a legitimate question. And also you have the right to refuse unsafe work, and you can even bring in an inspector from the Ministry of Labor to ensure work is safe. If you are an employee that now has to make other child care arrangements, you have to remember that an employer has a legal duty to provide accommodation, which may mean giving you more time to find those arrangements. So talk to your employer, work out a schedule, tell them how long you need. An employer does have to work with you on that front.
All right, Lior, let's talk a bit, if we could, about remote work, because a lot of people have been doing that for the better part of 2 years now, and it's proven to be both productive and cost-saving for a lot of employees. Do you think that that will remain, or hybrid options, are they still on the table? What do employees need to be aware of?
Certainly, I think that is the new norm. You're going to have a lot more employees working remotely, either full-time or part-time, moving forward. And one of the things employees have to accept if they're going to work remotely is some level, some form of monitoring by the employer. An employer does have an interest to ensure that if you're working from home, at least during working hours, you're doing your job, you're doing what you're supposed to, you're not off doing something else. So some technology can be used for that, of course, as long as it's limited. We can monitor people's activities off work hours. So that's just one example, but it's here to stay, guys. It's not going anywhere. You're going to have people working remotely for a long time.
Are there still some companies insisting on reducing both wages and additional benefits if you do want to continue working remotely?
Yes, absolutely, Caroline. That is happening. But the way to do that legally is to give the employee the option. So employee, we can have you back in the office. Everything is fine. But if you want to stay from home, that's your decision. But that comes with some sort of a change in terms of employment, perhaps a pay cut. At that point, it's the employee's option. What an employer cannot do is say, we've decided from now on you're working from home. And because we're saying that, you're also taking a pay cut. That is not legal, so that distinction is very important.
All right, let's underscore that a little bit if we could, Lior, because what are an employee's rights if a pay cut, some sort of salary loss is proposed by the employer? What recourse as an employee do you have?
So if it's one that the employee can avoid, in other words, they don't have to take it, they can continue working in the office without a pay cut, then the employee is fine. But where the employer imposes pay cuts, that could result in a constructive dismissal. A significant change in terms of employment, such as compensation, gives the employee the option to treat their employment as being terminated and require severance be paid. So employers have to be very careful with just unilaterally reducing pay for employees.
Do you think, finally, that these alternative models, and you know what, as I ask it, I kind of know the answer because you said this is going to be the norm, get used to it. This will be the way moving forward?
It is the way moving forward, and a lot of individuals and employers think it's a good thing, and it is in many ways, but you do have to be careful what you wish for. I've seen more stress leaves over the past 2 years with employees working from home than I ever have before. Just because you're working in the office doesn't mean you're not dealing with stressors. You have all your home stressors at the same time that you're working. For some employees, going to work was a bit of a disconnect from their other stressors. It would have been better. So you have to make sure that it's right for you as an employer. You still have to make sure that your employees are able to be productive, keeping in mind, of course, that you're also losing some aspect of the camaraderie and the team building that comes with people all working together. So there's real considerations there for both employees and employers.
For sure. Good stuff. Very instructive. Lior, appreciate the time as always. Good to see you this morning.